If you're just joining us, welcome and good morning. This is your host, Keely Austin. It looks like we have 46 participants this morning so far. Reach out to your team. We do not want any ICMs left behind. Our goal for these calls is to exceed 100 attendees. Our trainer today is Christion Sadler. Christion is an amazing individual who I've had the opportunity to meet several times, and when I first got started with Renatus, I remember meeting him, and he just really stood out to me because of the specific questions that he asked me. I just remember they were very moving, and at that time I was very much in the scarcity mindset still, and just trying to wrap my head around this whole idea of Renatus and what it was doing for people. And I just really remember that one instance that we met, and I just really I'm grateful to know you, Christion. Before Renatus, as a young teen, Christion was a troublesome teen, and he was kicked out of class a lot. Once he got older, he was experiencing financial scarcity. He was working at a daily wage job in steel fabrication. He heard about real estate and different wealth opportunities. He attended different guru events, and he felt like he wasn't getting anywhere. He found Renatus and started hanging around people he wanted to be like. He was showing up early to meetings and leaving late to meetings or after meetings. And, just asking where he can help out however he could. And he was very determined to just be involved with this business and to be successful at this business. After Renatus, Christion has completed multiple deals, netting over 6 figures. He is a marketing leader, a PIT team member, one of the founding members of Team Elevate. He's been in real estate business for over 13 years, always looking to add value to the people around him, and we're so fortunate to have Christion with us today. Good morning, Christion. How are you?
I was muted. I'm great, Keely. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for everything you do, Keely. And it's been so fun to watch your growth. And I do remember when we first met at the bowling alley there. And it's just been cool to see you continue to grow and progress. And I'm excited to see just how far you go. I know that you are stepping into your own leadership in so many ways. And it is benefiting the whole team. Not only the team there locally with you, but the team nationwide. And we are grateful for you and starting out these calls every single month or every single Monday through Thursday. And we know that it's no small task. It's something that, you've got to be there every single day. It's not just, when you get up and when you can get on these calls. It's every single day. You're here. You're, starting us off with some great videos, and we're grateful for that. So thank you, Keely.
My pleasure. Thanks, Christion.
All right, folks, here's what I wanted to go over today. So let me do this. Just going to share the whiteboard. Let me get rid of a couple of videos over here just so that they don't distract me. Get a few more videos we can get rid of. All right, I think we got them. Perfect. All right, everybody. So here's my question, and I want you guys to participate in today's call because I believe this is where we can strategize and truly mastermind. And if you don't understand the mastermind principle, I suggest you go read up on it. Go open up Think and Grow Rich and open up the chapter on the mastermind principle. And you'll be amazed at just what can be accomplished. Simple thought is this. If you take a candle and you grab another candle and you place them next to each other, you actually get a larger flame than the two of them separately, meaning they grow bigger than in proportion to just adding one to the other. This is the mastermind principle. If you bring two minds together or more, then you have greater ideas and results that come out of that. And so it's a simple question that I want to ask you guys, and that's this. What is working? What is working for you? And we'll do two things. If you want to come out, then I'm going to share something that's working for me, and then I'll open up the lines. If you're only able to chat in, then I will read your chat out loud, and then that way we can kind of go through this, and there can be some questions and answers that come along with this. Starting off, though, I want you to think about what's working. And when I say what's working, here's what I mean by that. I mean what's actually getting results. And when I say results, I'm talking about money in the bank, right? Something, that has put orders in the system. And I want you to kind of go through it and share a little bit of that process. So if you're going to talk about your last combo sale, that's a great way to do it. And, if your combo sale, for example, was a warm market, well, what was the approach? How did you approach your warm market? I've done this before where I'm just more counting and saying, okay, what did your last sales come from? And we're doing a tally. Instead of doing a tally, what I want to do is I want to, have more of a conversation. And so I'll start off and I'll share with you something that's been working for me. So I've shared this before on calls, and you guys heard about, a couple of months ago, at the end of August, I went and spoke on the stage of somebody here locally who's kind of a personal development trainer, and he does a lot with mindset and those types of things. What he doesn't necessarily focus on, though, is specific ways of earning income. He more talks about your mindset around income and the things that can be done, to help you lift your financial thermostat and those types of things. So he allowed me to come in and talk about some strategy, some real financial literacy. And so in that, what I did was I shared some simple things, and it's basically the 4 pillars, just shared in a condensed version with a little bit of a twist on it. Okay. And so in this particular case, I talked about the myths, financial myths. And so we went over that. I shared some of those myths, and in there, I had the opportunity. Eric, the guy who ran the event, actually wanted me to pitch from stage. He gave me full permission that I could offer, Renata's products or whatever I chose from stage. And I chose to do something a little different. Now, part of this has to do with our agreement, and part of it has to do with testing, okay? Because I've spoken on his stage before. And what I noticed was that we have a very good sales system here in Utah, at the very least, and in Renatus as a whole. And each individual market kind of has their own system that they go through. And I just really am confident in what we do, here with Team Elevate locally in Salt Lake. And so instead of offering any type of a, buy now, I just simply offered a private house tour. I said, listen, and I really built up the value of my time, right? I built up, just what's possible. I talked about a deal that I did, from stage. I kind of walked through the numbers of a deal and talked about the potential and talked about how you don't need money to make money and those types of things. And, I built value within myself, and I basically told them I'm willing to sacrifice some of my time and give it to you guys to give you some real insight behind the scenes on a real estate transaction if you guys are willing to commit to be there. And so I set up for a private house tour at one of my flips, and I invited them out. I had about 17 people that came, From those 17 people, pretty much all of them were interested. Now, some of that 17 people was couples, okay? And so some of those people showed up the very next week. I think I did it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And so I had people literally coming. Yeah, it was a Wednesday. So I had literally people coming the very next day to our Thursday 4 Pillars. And then I had people that came the next week and so on and so forth. And so I had a combo that came out of that. And actually I had went out of town on one of the weeks following. And so I was there for Thursday, but Friday, I was not there with my guests. And Eloy, as the facilitator of the follow-up, actually entered the order for me. So when I came back from being out of town, I reached out to, everybody. And essentially I had a guy that just said, "Hey, I'm ready to buy. With your permission, I want to buy my Renatus education." I said, "Okay, great. Let's put in your order." And he said, "No, the order's already in. I just need to pay the money." So we did that. I had another individual, and his name was Sam. And so that first guy's name was Steven. Second guy's name was Sam. And Sam was actually another one of those. And here's the interesting thing. So I'll kind of go back a little bit. Steven was one that he wasn't like super interactive. He didn't even say he was coming the next day. So he didn't come the next day when I asked him. And he didn't give me any reasoning behind it. He didn't say, "No, I'll probably come to a future event." None of that. So I ended up reaching out to him because he stuck around afterwards and helped clean up. And I reached out afterwards and just, thanked him for being who he is. And then I just said, "Are you interested in coming to a future event?" And he said, yes, he would. And that's when he showed up the next week. So it was kind of that unassuming. I mean, this guy, when I first met him, he just didn't seem like he was all that excited about what was going on or personal development or, real estate or anything. I mean, he did ask me a lot of questions. And in my naive perception, I thought his questions were, kind of skepticism. But it turns out, he was really getting a great feeling, and he bought a combo. He paid cash for it, cash that he had in the bank. All right, and then I had Sam, and Sam was another one of these guys where Sam didn't, aggressively do anything. In fact, he kind of said, I don't think that me and my wife are necessarily interested in, in doing real estate, as our career. He's a writer. He's somebody that is focusing on, writing novels, and that's kind of his deal. But I did invite him out and said, "Hey, would you be interested in coming out to another event?" And he said he would. And velocity banking was something that this guy needed. I mean, when I say needed, I mean he is in a spot right now where he's got to make some major shifts. Making $92,000 a year, and yet he's below paycheck to paycheck. And so we got together, we kind of sat down, we talked about the possibilities with velocity banking, and he stepped up and bought. So he bought his essentials for now, and I believe he will be upgrading very soon as he gets more engaged in the community. So that was another, again, cash is already in the bank. And then another one, the 7-day right of rescission is done. His name is Steven as well. So two Stevens came out of that same event. And he's somebody that he did show interest, from the very beginning. And it seemed like he was really enjoying what he saw. He was fortunately, I almost said unfortunately, but he was fortunately coming up to the point where he was about to have a child. And so time was difficult for him. And hold on, let me manage some participants here. All right. So he was coming up on having a child, and so he was kind of putting things off. It was kind of, well, let me, see what my wife says, and I think I want to do this later on, and so on and so forth. And I just stuck with him. I just continued to show up for him and make an invite and ask for the order. I was not afraid to ask for the order. In fact, the first time he came down, I asked for the order. The second time he came down, Michael Huggins asked for the order probably 5 or 6 times in their conversation. And in the next phone call, I asked for the order. And this just continued to go on and on. And, here we are 2 months later from the original event, almost to the day, actually, from the time that he first saw, the presentation. So almost to the day, it's been 2 months, and I had sent him a link, and he was gonna put in his order, and he didn't. And this was a couple weeks ago now, and he didn't do it. And then I called him up and we touched base, and he was trying to decide, well, I'm getting a HELOC right now, and I'm kind of thinking that I don't want to pull any extra credit. And he had already told me that he had the resources in multiple different places. He had them here, and he had them there, and he had it in cash, and he had it in access to lines of credit. So it basically kind of felt like a put off. But he did say, hey, I think I want to do it after. First, it was I want to do it after we have a baby. I'm going to have some time off, and then he kind of said, well, I have this HELOC, and I'm trying to decide if I even want to do it. And he said, let's talk again on Friday. Well, I called him on Friday, and I didn't get a response. So I thought that was interesting. And no big deal. I didn't put a lot of thought into it. I know he's got a brand new baby that he's dealing with. And so the next day, actually 2 days later, I saw an email that he had been emailing corporate because he had put in his order, but didn't have access to his classes yet. He hadn't entered the money in. And so here we are. That was the day. That was Saturday. So last Saturday is when that happened. And I noticed that he talked about putting in his order. So I went into my back office and I pulled it up and I looked, and sure enough, he had put it in and he had paid in full. So he had signed everything on Friday. He had paid it all in full once he got response from corporate on Saturday. And he's going to be a valuable member of the team. So that's what's working for me. That's one of the things right now that I can say I'm getting tangible results from. I spoke on somebody else's stage. I took those people through a process, started with a private house tour and here's the one thing that I will say. When I first spoke on that stage, I told people that most individuals that work with me spend $20,000 to do so. And on that second exposure, I didn't go into anything about Renatus's education, except for the fact that I invited them out to meet the community and see what we're all about. And I did mention there, that there's education available. Excuse me. And then they came down on Thursday, and it started the process. And I was not shy whatsoever that the best thing that these people could do for themselves is buy a combo. And I believe that's true. That there's, that confidence and that belief within me, I believe, is what's inspiring them to move forward. Now, I do have other results coming from that same event that are still people, in process of funding and looking for their money, and doing those things, and even sending me referrals. So that's what's working for me. Now, hopefully, while you were listening, you were thinking about what's working for you. So who wants to come out and share what's working for them?
Hey, Christian, how you doing? This is Miles the G-Food.
Hey, Miles. Come on out.
How you doing? I met you a couple weeks ago in Utah, my wife and I, Noreen, remember?
I remember, yes.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to chime in since you're asking and say that, well, we're relatively new with Renatus, officially in about mid-July. When I was up there in Utah, I was actually a one-star already. So I already have my combo, made my first combo sale prior to getting up to Utah. And just a couple of days ago, I actually had my qualifying sale to be 5-star. So yeah, it's been a journey. I think what has really helped my wife and I is immediately after getting involved, we enrolled with Michael Huggins in the elevated marketing training. And, it's been grueling at the very onset, but I gotta say that it's been well worth the time that we've spent doing that. And I've learned that, persistency was probably the main reason why we're so focused in what we're doing now. And it's been great. We have actually had every week anywhere between 2 and as much as 9 people attend, whether it be an in-house 4 pillars presentation or a webinar that I've arranged. And it's been very good. The thing that I've noticed is people have been very receptive to what we were doing, primarily because of what you just said, how passionate and how you really believe in what you're doing and what you're really offering people. And I think that comes across big in what I've noticed anyway, with the people I've talked to, because it's been able to put people in the seats, right? And so if there's anything I can say, I would just stay focused, continue to do what you're doing. And if you have a little bit of hesitation, you got to really believe in what you're doing, first of all. So that's kind of what's been working for us.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you for sharing. I will ask a question if I can.
Sure.
Where did those combo sales, those qualifying sales, where did they come from? And what was that process?
Well, good question. We've developed a long list of people, and quite honestly, I've been attacking my warm market. And I have not been going through the numbers of people just to get people in the seats. I've been really focusing on people that I felt would definitely benefit from what I can offer them, but also had the means to make things happen for themselves too. And they would definitely be people that can bring value to the community. So I've been taking that approach and really working them. And I guess I could say that it's a process, like we all know. It takes several touches. Some people get it in 2 sessions and some a little bit longer, but I haven't given up on anyone. And I guess the way I'm looking at it is, if they don't see it now, it's just a matter of time when they do. And so that's pretty much been our process.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Not a problem.
And Keely, I noticed that you were chatting in here. You said you had a question regarding one of these questions or conversations. So come on out.
Christian, one of the people that you mentioned you spoke with was before Steve, but it was I'm not sure which Steve, the one who you said really needed velocity banking.
Uh-huh.
And you guys had a conversation. I've got a few people that I know they need velocity banking, and they've also seen the information and they're interested in getting started, but I'm hesitant on what that conversation looks like, because I don't want to cross any lines of compliance, but I also want to be able to how and that they can apply the velocity banking. But how did you do that?
So really it's just about showing how, and kind of showing how to run the numbers, and then you allow them to run the numbers for themselves.
Okay.
One great way that you could do it, I didn't do this necessarily with him, but one way that you could do it is you could actually pull up the Velocity Banking app, or I should say, you can have them download the Velocity Banking app, and just talk about the power of what can be done, and just say, look for yourself, go download the app and see what's possible for you. And then when they do it, then you can just simply ask them, do you want this?
Okay, thank you.
So with him, I just kind of basically, showed the formula up on the board, and then I said, do you want this? And yeah, the answer was yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, who else wants to come out? What is working for you? How'd you get your last combo sale in? Where'd the people come from? What was the process you took them through? Well, I can share. I'm trying to see if she might be on the line. I have a student that shared with me some of what she's been doing, and it's pretty creative. And I'm kind of excited to see, what she's got going on with it. So she did just get a advanced from it, and that advanced is now upgrading to their combo in less than a month. Um, and I'm just kind of checking the names here to see if she's on, because she obviously would share it a lot better than I would. And I'm not seeing her here. So I'll kind of share with you what what she's been doing. And I don't know the exact details, but it's working from the standpoint that she's been doing it for about a month, and she already has a combo coming from it. And so that's a great thing. And she's told me that she has about 20 other people in the pipeline right now from this process. Now, I think it's the right fit for certain people. And again, I don't know all the details, but I want to talk about what's working so that the rest of you, if you haven't been considering what you're going to share, I want to give you the opportunity to share. But this is a student of mine, Janine. And what Janine's been doing is she's been making dream catchers. So she's been doing, arts and crafts, and she's been making up these dream catchers. And then she's been calling her warm market and saying, hey, friend, I have a gift for you. When is the time that we can meet up? And then she goes out and meets with them, and she gives them the dream catcher. And you guys hopefully know what that is. It's basically, sticks with string that goes back and forth, kind of looks like a spider web, and Native American tradition that comes with that. So she brings them the dream capture, or the dream catcher, and she just kind of shares how she lost her dream for a period of time, and she asked them about their dreams, and then talks about, essentially she wants to be there with them as they recapture their dream. And then she invites them out to a Thursday presentation. And she says she's been wildly successful with the response, meaning nobody turns down a gift. So pretty much everybody's been willing to meet. And after she shares, a little bit of her passion behind why she believes this is what's going to help them recapture their dream. And I know she goes through like the cash flow quadrant, from Robert Kiyosaki, and talks about why people are, afraid to step outside of that employee or self-employed box, and essentially shares her excitement, her passion for Renatus, and then invites them down. And so that's something that's been working for her. She's had a lot of people at presentations. She already has a advance that has paid out that is now upgrading to their combo, she says, this week. So it's another thing that's been working. So I'm going to ask you guys this question. What is working for you? Who wants to come out? Who is that?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're really faint.
How about now?
Well, it's about the same, but Tyson, we can hear you, so go ahead.
Is it better now?
It is, yes.
Okay, great. Tyson from Salt Lake City. Right now I only have one combo that I've sold, but what worked for me on that one is I'm excited when I talk about Renatus. Somebody got interested and they asked lots of questions, and I answered what I could, and I invited them to the initial exposure. And what I ended up doing is since I, being a little bit newer, didn't feel comfortable asking for this sale, I asked my 5-star to step in and help me out, and I was there along the process. And my 5-star ended up closing the sale, and that's kind of how I got my first combo. So just being excited and leaning on my 5-star is basically what I did. That's what worked for me.
And is this warm market?
No, it was cold.
Say it again.
No, that was cold market. There's somebody I met on the streets.
All right, so 3-foot rule.
Yeah,
Very cool. Thank you for sharing.
you're welcome.
Who else wants to come out? What's working for you? Where'd your last sale come from? Or sales? What lead sources are you using? How are you contacting people? And whether that paid you or whether that was a roll-up sale doesn't matter. I just want to know, what is it that's working for you?
Hey, Christian.
Yeah, Bill, come on up.
Hey, brother. Great job, man. It's exciting about that, about sharing that stage and that story over the last couple of months. It's I'm happy for you, man. That's a cool way. I gotta figure out how to get into someone's stage myself. So it's motivating.
If I could get one stage like that a month.
Yeah, right.
Excited.
Yeah, that's a good goal, actually. That's a great point. For me, Christian, what's working is, and it's taken me years, you guys, to do this, but it works when you do it. And I don't know why we have whatever hangups we have, but we're not immune to it, no matter how long we've been in this business. But I reach out to my phone. I look at my phone when I have nothing to do, which is pretty much never. But anytime I catch myself thinking of a meeting coming up, an event, and I don't have a guest registered, or I just want to do more marketing and do more business, and realize that I've got to balance my business with my real estate and focus more on my business. I reach in my phone and I literally scroll down, and I'll find someone, and it takes me 3 or 4 different practice texts to send a text to that person. So I don't just come off the cuff. I reread it, I fix it, tweak it, and I personalize it, and I reach out to them with a purpose and an intrigue question of some sort. And I've been getting response. I've been getting a lot of people to meetings that I haven't even talked to about it in a couple of years. People that know what I do every single day and know my real estate success, and finally the time may be right where they want to come and see and get started. So I just had a hard money lender. I've been asking him to come for over 2 years probably. And he actually called me with the clients in his room that were getting a loan from him and said, hey, these 2 folks are interested in real estate, and they really want to get around a community of investors. They're taking their careers to the next level. I told them about you. I got on the phone with them right there, booked them to an event. They came Thursday. They ended up coming to regionals and bought their combo. And they're going to be a great asset to the team. And that's just because I've reached out to Mike, my hard money lender, and was asking him, to come again.
I love it. That is awesome. Yeah, I had a similar scenario where I sat down with a guy. I think I shared last week, this guy sold his first company for $100 million and has then built some very large commercial complexes here locally. And just by getting to know him and creating a friendship, he's been sending me referrals. I have a guest coming tonight that he met at an event that he was speaking at, at one of our local universities, and somebody came up to him and they got to talking about flipping homes. That's obviously not in his wheelhouse right now, but because he knows me, likes me, trusts me, he went ahead and told them to call me. So it's cool what can
Yeah.
happen when you just reach out to those people who are already successful.
Yeah, that's true. I remember you talking about that last week. That's awesome. That's exciting. And for that guy to, you can't get a better endorsement than someone like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the same is for you with your hard money lender. I mean, what a great referral source. I'm sure that he's already trusted.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And that's exactly it.
Perfect. Well, we have time for one more person to come out and share what's working for you. Who wants to come out?
Hi, this is Amanda from Phoenix.
Hey, Amanda. I miss
How
you.
are you doing? I
Haven't seen you
know.
for
How
so
are you
long.
doing? So I've been sitting back, thinking about stuff, and thought I shouldn't share, but I'll share real fast. So I can tell you first off, what isn't working is sitting at home and working on the computer and doing things like that, and hoping that I'll generate a lead somehow, some way off of the computer. So I finally had my awakening, and I was like, what are the 4 money-making activities? Am I seeing the people? No, I'm not. So I'm not out there networking. I'm not out there. And what is my drive? I love meeting people and talking and relationships, and I don't do enough of it. So that's brought me down a little, feeling like, oh man, this is hard. And anyways, so I just had a mind shift with it. And so yesterday I finally went out and I went to an event, and it was a great event. It wasn't necessarily something I would try, but the people that were in there, I got to know them and I enjoyed it. And I just went in there what can I learn from this? And I learned some new marketing techniques from the event that I went to. But then I met the people beside me, and one of the guys said, yeah, actually, I'm interested in real estate investing. Okay, great. I don't know where that will go, but it was something, and it made me feel better because I'm out networking and talking and meeting people, and being at home sometimes all the time can make you not feel so excited about it. Then the other thing that happened is actually it was so exciting, but this gal that I followed in a group, she's back east and she's hosting an event here, and she personally invited me to come to that event. And so I said, yeah, I'd love to come. So I'm going to that this morning. And when she sent me that invite, I thought, well, I have an event on Wednesday, and I just asked her if she'd like to come. I said, you're probably busy, but if you'd like to come, I'd love to come. So we had a great conversation last night at the event meeting, and she's super excited. And the cool thing about it that I'm excited about is I thought to myself, it's not just about her getting started, even if she doesn't, but she really seemed very intrigued, and she actually was really excited about the earnings plan and all of that. And I thought, she has connections with so many other people that she could refer me to. And that's where I really am even more excited about. So I just decided to change the things that aren't working to do what I've been told to do and that are working. And so I'm just feeling excited about that. So I just wanted to share, if anybody is kind of in a rut, think about what you can do that fits your drive, or something to get out there and do something else than what you're doing. Because in Renatus, I was raised on putting out signs, and that works, but there's a lot of filtering and sorting, and we can still put signs out here in Phoenix, but it's not building a specific relationship. It's a harder way to get somebody to attend an event rather than a face-to-face.
Well, Amanda, I think that is a perfect message to end the call on. So, guys, if you have something that's not working, do what your coach told you to do the first time. It's a little quote that I heard that I think is fitting. Get out there and make it happen, folks. See y'all soon.